All right, guys. Well, Southern, man, they battle, and I knew it was going to be like that. And I thought for stretches of the game we played really well, and I thought for other stretches we didn't, which is that's what happens in the early season. But I take my hat off to Southern. I mean, they play their tails off, and they're relentless, and it's kind of an eye opener for some of our guys, and especially some of our young guys. I mean, they need to understand. I mean, these games you don't take for granted. You're not in high school anymore. You're not playing AAU basketball. I mean, you're playing all Division I players and who are good players, and they're hungry and they have pride. So, obviously I was disappointed with how our younger group finished, and there's going to be some great lessons learned from that. And we have standards in this program, and with effort and intelligence, and they didn't meet them. I mean, it's that easy. So I think that veteran group is setting a pretty good example for them, so they need to open their eyes.
Were you tempted to go back to any of your stars at the very end?
I mean, it's hard. Here's where you're at. I mean, sit in my chair. You probably think you have the game under control, and so you're going to get the win, but you have standards of how you want to play, and those standards weren't being met. You put one of the main guys back in. What if he gets hurt? And these seasons are long and they're not easy. And then the other thing that disappoints me is, we have what we call our green squad, our walk-on crew that's really good. And, for them to not get much of a chance to play because, I think that group was minus 15 in like 5 minutes, which is pretty impressive to be minus 15 in 5 minutes.
When you get this Kerr, how good is he?
I mean, I think Kerr's good every day. I mean, I really do. I mean, listen, nobody's going to get a triple-double every night. And Kerr's just a good basketball player. He's just got such a high IQ, and he's got a great motor, and he's competitive. And you could coach him on a cerebral level where he understands, what's going on, and he'll look at you and he'll nod, and for the most part, he'll go out and do it. And I think Kerr's biggest strength is just his confidence, and he's not scared. There's sometimes, he'll do some risky plays, and he probably knows that, coach probably isn't going to love this, but he's still not afraid, which is important. I mean, these guys can't be, maybe our younger guys are a little bit scared, of me and making mistakes. They got to get over that. They got to grow up. And, I think our veteran crew, I definitely know this. I mean, hopefully they have a healthy respect for me, but they're not scared of me. And they go out and they make plays, and sometimes they're a little too aggressive, but at the end, it usually is a good thing for us when they're that aggressive for a long period of time.
Umar looked dominant on both ends of the floor tonight. What do you think of his performance?
I mean, Umar's great. I mean, he's a really good basketball player, and he's really grown. He was able to, he's taken the defensive part of protecting the rim serious, and he looked awesome. Doing that. He's really rebounding. He's just rebounding out of his area and getting balls up, kind of high pointing them, which, he really never did before. And then offensively, he's really kind of calmed down. He's a load. I mean, I don't know how many fouls he drew tonight, but it was a lot. 7. There we go. See, I got my eyes over there. 7 fouls. And I think one game this year, maybe like in our St. Mary's scrimmage, I think he drew like 12 or something like that. So, he's a load. He's a load to play against. So I'm really proud of him.
This may be a different question, but tonight was a little chippy. It got early for some. Do you appreciate those games only because it maybe gets something out of your guys?
Well, listen, in competitive moments, emotions are going to rise, and you can't be afraid of it. Now, you need to temper it a little bit. You need to take it right to that line, and then you got to be able to play and understand the purpose is to win the basketball game. It's not to, getting chest bumping contests. It's, Pella and Umar, I got on them a little bit. They don't need to be doing that. I don't care what the other team did. We need to huddle up and say, okay, guys, hey, let's kick their ass as a team. You're not going to throw punches. You're not going to get in a fist fight. So why would you go bump somebody in the chest or go into their huddle? I mean, I think that's fake tough. What real tough is huddling up as a team and say, all right, it's on, and let's play it. And I respect Southern, and I have no issues with how they played, and so it's great for us to get pushed to that limit because it teaches us a lesson of how we need to respond when emotions do get that high.
43 turnovers on the season. Do you account for that? Just young players making mistakes?
Well, I mean, it's young players, old players. I mean, it's just mistakes, and we got to clean it up. And I think when we're not turning the ball over, we're pretty efficient. And so, we just got to keep learning. We got to keep learning. I think it's just teams like that are hard because they just keep coming. And human nature tells you when you get up a certain number of points or, hey, they haven't pressed the last few possessions and they put it on, you just kind of, you relax. And then you maybe, you relax and you make a decision that you normally wouldn't, and you throw a cross-court pass and they break on it. So you just got to have, a better understanding of, just valuing possession, and we'll get there. We'll get there.
How does facing a team like Southern that throws that full court press help you for the tournament when you see so many different defenses?
Well, I mean, listen, you're about 4 or 5 months ahead of me. I'm worried about, cleaning up a bunch of stuff Sunday at practice. I mean, that's 100% where I'm at now, and it helps a ton because you can't simulate the persistence and the effort that they played with in that press. We can't simulate that very well, So it was great. I mean, I'm appreciative that they came here and they battled with us and they played as hard as they did because it's only going to help us.
Earlier this fall, you mentioned you wanted to see Kerr develop a little bit more scoring inside the three-point line. How would you assess his development so far?
I mean, I haven't looked. I mean, I know he hit one floater. Did he hit anything else? I mean, yeah, he's made huge progress. I mean, over the course from what I've seen in practice, he's made huge progress, and it'll show itself over the course of a season. But, I don't, the great thing about Kerr right now is he was just making great decisions today. Just, he made consistently great decisions, whatever it is. He's not trying to force one area of his game.
He was practicing better without the headband, so decided to go out without it the other night, but then people were ripping him and telling him to wear it.
And here's a bit of I didn't even notice. So I don't notice those things. So, again, you're my fashion guy. So you and Brigger are my fashion police. So.
I mean, have you ever, you like him better in a headband or not? Just and whatever.
I like triple-double Kerr, whatever that looks like.
Twice in his career.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, I love it.
What was it like getting to see your boy play last night?
It was awesome. I'm proud of him. He's an awesome kid, and he's, this Division I basketball deal is not easy, and he's grown up in it, and it's still not easy. And I'm sure maybe at times he was doubting himself the last couple of years. He didn't really get many opportunities, and for whatever reason, and for him to go to a program where he gets to play a little bit. I think it's he's really appreciative of it, and I watched him last night, and I know who his dad is because I could tell how he's playing with his jump stops and his pass faking and stuff like that. So I'm proud of him. I'm proud of how he's competed the last couple of games, and I'm excited for their team. I mean, they're going to have I think they're going to have a pretty good season when it's all said and done.
Tommy, how cool was it to be a part of the Pac-12 SWAC Legacy Series?
It's great, and I haven't, probably taken enough time to, really appreciate it, but I have a lot of respect for those programs. Those programs have to overcome long odds. And and just in the Division I basketball business landscape, I mean, obviously they're probably not as well funded as programs like we are, and they got to go out and play, all these road games, and the cool thing about today was for every time in the history of probably Arizona basketball, today against Southern would have been a guarantee game, what we call a guarantee game, where they would have got paid to show up and battle. But the cool thing for them is next year they get us back there on the second game of the year. So I think it'll probably have a little more meaning and impact when we get to go back there and have that full experience. And we're looking forward to it.
Kylan and how he's been able to perform the last couple of games.
Good basketball player. I mean, Kylan's a good player, and I think he's doing a good job, settling in and figuring out what it's like at this level, and playing against high pressure teams. I think he's looked pretty poised, and so I think as he continues to get some games under his belt and some minutes, he's really going to help us, which is huge. It's huge. Obviously we're going to get Courtney back soon. And that's going to help our overall depth. But I'm more than comfortable when Kylan Boswell is on the floor.
Yeah, is this maybe a little more comparable role that you can see him playing? I mean, for the other night with Kerr having foul trouble, you went to him a lot. But I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna let that play out. Courtney's a good basketball player, and he's had a really good fall with us, and I think he's going to have a great season. So, again, Kylan's having success, but at the end of the day, I keep telling you guys, I want to kind of give him some time to develop, and I'm excited to see kind of what kind of jump he makes this week in practice with a couple games under his belt. But you guys can see what a special talent he is, and he's only going to get better.
One more question? All set? All right, thank you.
Wow. Thank you guys. Have a good night.